What's up, everybody? It's Emilio here from the Epoch Collective. Thank you guys for tuning in for another video. Today's video is going to be kind of connected to what we were talking about on our post on Monday. So as you know, myself and Jack are going to be doing self-titled EPs, or, well, actually we don't know what the title is yet, but we're each going to be doing our own EPs. And so in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about our creative process for writing. I'm going to share some of my thoughts on how I start, how I finish, and kind of like the main topics. And also, I might show you guys a little sneak peek of some of the songs that I know for sure are going to be on the EP that I'm going to be doing for myself. So let's just dive right into it. Okay, so I don't really have like specific steps that I do when I write, but usually I either start because I've listened to a song and I get inspired by it like most people do, or I just feel in the mood for writing, really. Like today at lunch, I wrote a song just because I felt like writing, and I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I ended up writing a full song. You guys can't really see it. But yeah, like I said, usually I'll listen to a song, or I'll have some sort of event that happened during the day or yesterday, or something I know is going to happen, and so I just start writing about how I feel about it, really. I guess for me, mostly my writing is about an emotion, mostly. Sometimes I don't have clear-cut like structure, I guess you could say. Like there's no beginning, middle, end, chorus, verse, bridge, that kind of thing. And sometimes there's not really a clear theme, at least for others who are interpreting it, like yourselves or anybody. So I really just kind of go for it, honestly. Now, for some reason, when I write, sometimes it's more of a traditional poetry style. So it's kind of like this song, where you can see how the stanzas are kind of short, and in this case, most of the words rhyme with each other. But I usually don't do that kind of thing very often. For me, I usually just start writing, and if it happens to rhyme, then I might continue to rhyme the words. But usually I'll just write. Let me see if I can find an example here. Yeah, I guess like this, sort of, in a way. These stanzas are more just long, and they're more sentences that can connect to each other, but they're not necessarily like the other song that I showed you, this one here, where it's more of a traditional poetry style. Now, when I do write, I usually at least try to have a chorus that I know for sure that I want to be part of the song, or the song when I write songs. So I'll usually do like the first verse, and then I'll do a chorus, and then after that I'll either do the same traditional format, or sometimes I'll just have it be just the one verse and then a chorus, and then the rest is just not even either one of those. Is just an ongoing kind of thing. So for instance, what I was just talking about, there's a song that I have here. It's going to be song number 6. This is called For You. It's going to be on my EP. We start here with the verse, and then we have a chorus, and then we have the verse 2, and then we have chorus again. But then after that, as you can see here, and continuing on to the back page, this is more or less, even though it says chorus here, this is more or less just ongoing work, or lyrics, I guess. And as of right now, this hasn't been finalized, so I don't know how it's going to really play out, considering that we all haven't gotten together yet. But yeah, like I said, I usually try to have at least one part of the song be a chorus. I will say, when I'm writing, sometimes the lyrics feel very cheesy, or they feel very corny. But then once you add them to any sort of like beat or drum loop or guitar riff or whatever you have that's either in your head or you create, it sounds better than it does when it's on the paper. I will say that. So I guess my advice is just write down exactly what you're thinking in the moment. Try not to maybe change it too much. I know for me personally, I usually don't change the lyrics unless I really think they're not that great. But just be confident in your own writing and your own stuff. That's one thing that I've learned to do, is to just be confident in what I'm writing and not be afraid to mess up, quote unquote, whatever that really means for me in terms of writing. I guess this is a song I'm working on now. There's a couple of edits you can see here and here and here and here. I crossed out some stuff, and that's just because I just felt it was unnecessary really at that point. I do kind of go through periods of time where I'll write a bunch of songs, maybe 2 to 3 in a couple of days, or in this case, the song I showed at the beginning of the video, this song here, this I just wrote today, and I haven't written a song or any sort of poetry really, it doesn't have to be a song, in quite some time. So I kind of go through phases of stuff that I want to write about, or phases of writing and not writing. Okay, so I've kind of jumped around a little bit in terms of like my steps that I was talking about. I guess for step number 2, which is how I finish writing a song, once again, kind of don't really have a specific way. Usually, if I want it to just be a traditional song, verse, chorus, bridge, maybe go back to the chorus again, or just end it out on the bridge section of a song. But sometimes I just write, and if I feel that I have something more to say, or if I want to connect back to another idea, I'll continue writing even after I've done the traditional kind of format in terms of writing a song. I guess for me, there's never really ever a definite finish line. Like the song I was writing today, I guess technically I've got a verse, chorus, chorus again, and then I have this other section that could be another verse, it could be the bridge. I don't really know. I would say it's quite a long song, considering that I kind of have the chorus going twice, what I imagine in my head. So some songs just get more attention, I guess, than others that I write. You know, I guess I just like to write a lot in general, so my lyrics or my poetry tends to be on the longer side. But once again, it's just kind of how I'm picturing it in my head while I'm writing. That also kind of brings up another point that I guess I didn't really touch on, is usually I'm imagining either the guitar or the drums or somebody singing it while I'm writing it down, so I know what the feel is of the song. So if I am rhyming, I want it to fit the rhythm of whatever instrumental piece that I'm thinking of in my head. So like the song I was writing today, it's kind of a groovy vibe with a lot of like, you know, just groovy bass, kind of not necessarily like a disco thing, but it's kind of what's going on in my head. So I decided that I wanted to rhyme the lyrics. So I had to think, okay, well, if it's going to be in this time signature, I have to make sure that it's going to work. So that's kind of one of the things that I do sometimes when I write. Okay, and so then I also mentioned that like step 3, or the third thing I was going to be talking about, was topics surrounding when I write. And I kind of already touched on it a little bit. Sometimes there's never really a clear topic. It's more or less just a feeling that I have expressed in different stanzas and different lines that sometimes people think might connect, and sometimes people might think they don't connect, but for me, they seem to work. All right, so now I'm gonna hand it over to Jack, and he's gonna tell you about his creative writing process, or just writing process in general, for when he writes songs or writing in general. So right over to you, Jack.
Hey, what's up, guys? So now I'm gonna kind of go through my thoughts on how I songwrite, or how I approach songwriting. So the way I do it is a little bit different than most people. So a lot of people will write lyrics before they even approach any sort of melody or any sort of chord progression, but I actually like to establish some sort of chord progression first, and then start messing around with different melodies in my head with like nonsense lyrics and or humming. So usually I'd pick 2, 3, or 4 chords and kind of repeat those over and over, either just literally repeating them over and over on the piano and then humming along different ideas, or recording it, putting on a loop. So anyway, yeah, I'll pick like 4 chords, literally like any 4 chords that I think sound nice together for maybe a start to a verse. I do think that, at least personally, I like to write verses first, because I feel like the verses are a foundation for your chorus, and they give your chorus sort of a context and a feel. That's why I like to pick out verse chords before chorus chords. And sometimes they're the same in a lot of like modern pop, but I do like to change it up, or at least change the order of the chords for the bridge and the chorus. So I'll come up with something like so those are four very simple kind of your bass chords. There's nothing fancy added to them, like different sevens or nines. There's nothing to make it a tasty chord, as they call it, during my songwriting process. I'll just do like literally the bass, open fifth, and I won't do any fancy rhythm or anything like that. I'll literally just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Just loop that, and then what I'll do is I'll start humming or singing nonsense lyrics, just that make no sense, but it's just to get some sort of melody in my head for these verses and eventually the chorus. So I'll do something, I don't know, something like this. So yeah, end up something along those lines, and then as I progress more and more, I'll find some sort of melody that I really like, and I'll start literally just coughing up words, coughing up lyrics. You know, whatever's on my mind, whatever I'm feeling at the moment, whatever I'm going through that week or day or month, just whatever's happening in your life, however you're feeling, take that and just let it out. It doesn't matter if it makes sense at first, but I usually find that when you get something out, it eventually formulates into something that you really like. Which is also why I recommend, if you do it this way, which is definitely not the only way to songwrite, it's just the way I do it. I would record, like audio record all of your songwriting sessions so that you never forget a single melodic idea or a single lyric idea that you have, because otherwise you'll forget in like 2 hours, and that has happened multiple times to me. So now I audio record all of my songwriting sessions that I sit down for and write, and I find it super helpful to go back and figure out what I like, what I didn't like, and where I can go from here. Anyway, that's kind of a brief rundown of how I approach songwriting and how I kind of start a song. So I hope that was helpful. Maybe it'll inspire you to do some songwriting yourself, and I know Emilio has a slightly different way of approaching it, which is super valuable as well. Thank you guys so much, and I'm going to pass it back to Emilio.
Okay, so as you can see, different hair style, different clothes, same room. Yeah, so I forgot to record an outro after Jack sent me all of his footage. So this is the outro now. Thanks to Jack for giving us some of the insights on what his creative process is in terms of his writing and what he does when he writes. And second of all, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, notification, leave a comment, share with all your friends and all your people, and make sure to stay tuned next week for another Epic Collective video. Until then, see you guys.